September 15, 2025. The dense rainforests of Guatemala's Petén region had concealed one of the most horrific criminal enterprises in modern history for over 6 years. Hidden beneath triple canopy jungle that blocked satellite surveillance and frustrated conventional military operations, American brothers Marcus and Dylan Torres had constructed what intelligence agencies described as a militarized trafficking empire that controlled territory larger than some European nations. The Torres Syndicate represented an evolution in organized crime that combined military-grade capabilities with systematic human exploitation on an industrial scale. Unlike traditional cartels focused primarily on drug trafficking, the brothers had created a comprehensive criminal corporation that trafficked weapons, narcotics, and most horrifically, human beings through networks spanning from Central America to Southeast Asia. Marcus Torres, a former Army Ranger with 3 combat deployments in Afghanistan, had used his military expertise to transform scattered criminal groups into a disciplined paramilitary organization. His younger brother Dylan, a disgraced CIA operative expelled for unauthorized operations in Syria, provided intelligence capabilities and international connections that allowed the syndicate to operate with near impunity across multiple countries. Their fortress, known locally as La Fortaleza Perdida, the Lost Fortress, sprawled across 43 square kilometers of impenetrable jungle. The facility housed an estimated 4,200 armed fighters, trained according to modified U.S. military doctrine, equipped with weapons systems that included surface-to-air missiles, armored vehicles, and artillery pieces acquired through corrupt military officials throughout Latin America. Intelligence assessments confirmed that over 6,000 civilians from 15 countries had disappeared into the Torres network during the previous 4 years. At least 184 were confirmed American citizens, including tourists who had vanished from resort areas and aid workers kidnapped from refugee camps. Survivors who had escaped the compound described systematic torture, organ harvesting operations, and preparation of victims for sexual slavery markets throughout Asia and the Middle East. This is Missile Mind. If you want to understand how elite military units adapt conventional warfare tactics to combat criminal organizations that operate like private armies, smash that like button and subscribe for exclusive analysis of special operations and modern irregular warfare. The compound's defensive capabilities exceeded those of many nation-state military installations. Former Warsaw Pact military advisors had designed layered defensive networks that included underground bunkers connected by reinforced tunnels, camouflaged fighting positions integrated into the natural terrain, and sophisticated early warning systems that could detect approaching aircraft or ground forces at ranges exceeding 20 kilometers. Most concerning was the syndicate's acquisition of advanced anti-aircraft systems, including Russian-manufactured Igla shoulder-fired missiles, and what appeared to be modified S-125 surface-to-air missile components. These systems provided credible threats to helicopters and low-flying aircraft throughout a defensive zone that encompassed over 200 square kilometers of jungle terrain. The Torres brothers had deliberately integrated civilian populations into their defensive strategy through a combination of coercion and economic incentives. Entire villages had been relocated within the compound's perimeter, with schools, medical facilities, and religious centers positioned to complicate any potential military assault. Children and elderly civilians were housed in facilities adjacent to weapons storage areas, creating human shields that would deter precision strikes. Previous attempts to neutralize the Torres Syndicate had resulted in catastrophic failures that claimed significant American casualties, while failing to achieve meaningful operational objectives. Between 2022 and 2024, 5 separate special operations missions had been launched against the compound, each ending in disaster that highlighted the organization's sophisticated defensive capabilities and tactical competence. Operation Midnight Fury in March 2023 resulted in the loss of 2 MH-60 Black Hawk helicopters and 14 Special Operations Forces personnel when the aircraft were engaged by coordinated surface-to-air missile fire during an attempted insertion. The wreckage was never recovered, and intelligence suggested that captured personnel had been tortured and executed by syndicate forces. A subsequent mission 6 months later saw an entire 12-man reconnaissance team disappear without trace after establishing initial surveillance positions approximately 15 kilometers from the main compound. Drone footage later revealed that the team had been ambushed by syndicate forces using advanced night vision equipment and sophisticated communication systems that enabled coordinated responses to American infiltration attempts. The failures demonstrated that conventional special operations tactics were insufficient against opponents who combined military training with intimate knowledge of local terrain and complete disregard for international humanitarian law. Each unsuccessful mission provided the Torres brothers with captured American equipment and intelligence about U.S. operational procedures, enabling them to refine their defensive measures against future attacks. The strategic implications of these failures extended beyond immediate tactical considerations. The Torres Syndicate's successful resistance to American military action encouraged other criminal organizations throughout Latin America to acquire similar defensive capabilities, while demonstrating that geographic isolation and sophisticated defensive measures could provide effective protection against even the world's most advanced military forces. International pressure mounted as evidence accumulated about the scope of human trafficking operations conducted from the Guatemalan compound. United Nations investigators documented systematic torture, sexual slavery, and organ harvesting activities that constituted crimes against humanity under international law. European governments demanded action after confirming that their citizens were among the victims trafficked through Torres networks. The decisive moment came on August 28, 2025, when escaped victims provided intelligence confirming that 3 American children, ages 8, 11, and 14, were being held in preparation for organ harvesting operations scheduled within days. The children, kidnapped from a missionary family in Honduras, represented the final provocation that transformed the situation from law enforcement concern to immediate military priority. President Biden's authorization for Operation Thunderstrike marked a fundamental shift in American counterterrorism doctrine by treating a criminal organization as a legitimate military target, requiring the full application of conventional warfare capabilities. The operation would represent the largest deployment of special operations forces against a non-state actor since the hunt for Osama bin Laden. Want to understand how modern military technology enables precision operations against heavily defended targets while minimizing civilian casualties? Hit subscribe and the notification bell to stay updated on Missile Mind's exclusive coverage of advanced warfare systems and tactical innovations. The force structure for Operation Thunderstrike reflected lessons learned from previous failures, while incorporating technological capabilities that had not been available during earlier missions. The assault force included 1-800 personnel, drawn from Army Special Forces, Navy SEALs, Marine Force Reconnaissance, and Delta Force units, supported by conventional forces providing area security and logistics support. Advanced technology played a crucial role in mission planning and execution. The MQ-9B Sky Guardian drone, equipped with synthetic aperture radar and signals intelligence capabilities, conducted continuous surveillance of the target area for 3 weeks prior to the assault. These platforms could penetrate jungle canopy using advanced sensors while remaining undetectable to ground-based air defense systems. The integration of artificial intelligence systems enabled real-time analysis of surveillance data to identify defensive positions, movement patterns, and civilian locations within the compound. Machine learning algorithms processed thousands of hours of reconnaissance footage to create detailed three-dimensional models of the facility that could be used for mission rehearsals and tactical planning. Most significantly, the operation employed network-centric warfare concepts that enabled seamless coordination between air, ground, and space-based assets. Every soldier, vehicle, and aircraft was connected through secure digital networks that provided real-time situational awareness and enabled dynamic mission adjustments based on developing tactical situations. Precision munitions played a critical role in achieving mission objectives while minimizing collateral damage. AGM-114R9X Ninja missiles, equipped with kinetic warheads rather than explosives, enabled targeted elimination of key personnel without risking nearby civilians. These weapons could penetrate vehicle armor or building walls to eliminate specific targets while leaving surrounding areas undamaged. The psychological operations component of Thunderstrike included comprehensive information warfare designed to encourage syndicate forces to surrender, while reassuring civilian populations about American intentions. Loudspeakers, radio broadcasts, and leaflet drops informed defenders that their leadership was targeted for elimination, while offering amnesty to lower-level fighters who abandoned their positions. At precisely 0200 hours on September 15, 2025, Operation Thunderstrike commenced with simultaneous strikes against the compound's command and control infrastructure. 6 MQ-9B drones launched precision missiles against communication centers, radar installations, and power generation facilities, severing the syndicate's ability to coordinate defensive operations. Within minutes, special operations teams conducted helicopter insertions at 12 different locations around the compound's perimeter. Night vision equipment and thermal imaging systems enabled American forces to navigate through dense jungle while maintaining tactical surprise against defenders who lacked equivalent technological capabilities. The compound's outer defensive line collapsed within 30 minutes, as special forces teams eliminated guard posts and observation towers using suppressed weapons and night vision advantages. Coordinated movements by multiple assault teams prevented syndicate forces from establishing coherent defensive positions or organizing counterattacks against American positions. B-52H Stratofortress bombers, operating from bases in the continental United States, delivered precision strikes against hardened bunkers and weapons storage facilities using GPS-guided munitions. These attacks eliminated the syndicate's heavy weapons capabilities while avoiding areas identified as containing civilian shelters or detention facilities. The most challenging phase of the operation involved clearing the underground tunnel complex, where intelligence indicated the majority of trafficking victims were being held. Delta Force teams utilized specialized breaching equipment and close-quarters combat tactics to systematically clear each chamber while ensuring the safety of civilian prisoners. Marcus and Dylan Torres were located in a reinforced command bunker approximately 40 meters underground, connected to the surface through multiple escape routes. Special operations teams used shaped charges to breach the facility's blast doors before engaging in close-quarters combat that resulted in the elimination of both brothers and their immediate security detail. The rescue of trafficking victims required extensive coordination between military personnel and medical specialists, who had been pre-positioned to provide immediate care for individuals who had suffered prolonged torture and abuse. Many victims required emergency medical treatment for injuries inflicted during captivity, while others needed psychological support to cope with trauma experienced during their imprisonment. This is how advanced military technology and tactical innovation enable precision operations against sophisticated criminal organizations operating in challenging environments. Subscribe to MissileMind and hit that bell icon for exclusive analysis of special operations tactics and military technology applications. The final phase of Operation Thunderstrike involved systematic destruction of the compound's infrastructure to prevent its future use by other criminal organizations. Demolition teams destroyed weapons manufacturing facilities, communication equipment, and transportation assets while carefully preserving evidence of human trafficking activities for subsequent legal proceedings. The operation's success exceeded all expectations established during the planning phase. Intelligence assessments confirmed the elimination or capture of 4,147 syndicate fighters, including all senior leadership and technical specialists who had provided military expertise to the organization. More importantly, 2,147 trafficking victims from 23 countries were rescued and provided with immediate medical care and psychological support. American casualties were remarkably light, considering the scale and complexity of the operation. 3 special operations personnel suffered minor injuries from explosive devices, while 1 helicopter crew sustained injuries during a hard landing in difficult terrain. No American personnel were killed during the 6-hour operation, demonstrating the effectiveness of advanced planning and technological superiority. The international response to Operation Thunderstrike was overwhelmingly positive, with governments worldwide praising American leadership in combating transnational organized crime. The European Union, which had been particularly affected by Torres trafficking networks, provided substantial financial support for victim rehabilitation programs, while pledging enhanced intelligence cooperation to prevent similar criminal organizations from establishing themselves in the future. Perhaps most significantly, the operation established new precedents for addressing criminal organizations that acquired military capabilities sufficient to challenge state authority. The successful application of conventional warfare tactics against non-state actors demonstrated that geographic isolation and defensive sophistication could not protect criminal enterprises from determined military action by technologically advanced nations. The long-term implications of Operation Thunderstrike extended far beyond the immediate tactical victory in Guatemala. Criminal organizations throughout Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia began reassessing their defensive strategies and operational security procedures in recognition that advanced military capabilities could be applied against any group that engaged in systematic human trafficking or other crimes against humanity. For the rescued victims, many of whom had endured years of torture and abuse, the operation represented the beginning of long rehabilitation processes designed to help them reintegrate into society. International organizations provided extensive support services while governments worked to repatriate foreign nationals to their home countries and reunite families that had been separated by criminal kidnapping operations. The technological capabilities demonstrated during Thunderstrike influenced military doctrine development throughout NATO and allied nations. The successful integration of artificial intelligence, precision munitions, and networked warfare concepts provided templates for future operations against hybrid threats that combined criminal activities with military capabilities. Most importantly, the operation sent an unambiguous message to criminal organizations worldwide that engaged in human trafficking or other crimes against humanity. Geographic isolation, defensive sophistication, and international borders would not provide protection against military action by nations committed to protecting human rights and prosecuting those responsible for systematic abuse of civilian populations. If you've stayed with us through this analysis of how elite military units employ advanced technology and tactical innovation to combat criminal organizations with military capabilities, it means you understand the complex realities of modern irregular warfare. Hit that like button, subscribe to Missile Mind, and drop a comment below with your assessment of how military forces should balance precision operations against the need to protect civilian populations in complex environments. Your engagement helps us continue providing analysis that reveals the tactical and technological evolution of special operations in the 21st century. The success of Operation Thunderstrike marked a turning point in the global fight against transnational organized crime by demonstrating that even the most sophisticated criminal organizations could not withstand coordinated military action by technologically advanced nations. The operation's emphasis on precision, technological superiority, and protection of civilian lives established new standards for military intervention against non-state actors engaged in crimes against humanity.